I thought I'd go ahead and put together a quick video showing you how to download the most recent digital elevation models for the state of Indiana. And so this video is very focused on leveraging some resources from our, here on campus. And actually, I'll just go ahead and bring this in real quick. This is Dr. Jinha Jung. He is a specialist in digital forestry in civil engineering. But one of the things he really is an expert on is actually developing digital elevation modeling or models and from LiDAR information. And so what I'm showing you here, located right here, is LiDAR data that he supervised the collection of in 2019 for the state of Indiana. And you'll see that when you come into this his website, that you'll be able to actually find LiDAR broken down by county for the state of Indiana. This is very high resolution data. It's the best available information out there. And this is kind of, the back door in is this is where he, this is how he stores his information and makes it available to others here at Purdue to use. So I'm starting by working in looking for LiDAR information in Jasper County, and so I'm going to go into Jasper County, and what you're going to see here is that within Jasper County, let me back up just real quick. Once I go into the county, what I need to do is go into the tile index. I actually need this shapefile, but all GIS layers actually, you need not just the shapefile, but the projection file and the database file and the .shx file. And so in order to get this one layer, what I've got to do is go ahead and right click on each one of these. I'm going to go ahead and save the link as. I'm going to drop it into a folder I created called Jasper Pulaski. And I'll repeat this process for each one of these 4 elements. And so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while I do that. So what you can see I've done here is that I've gone ahead and pulled up the Jasper County tile. These are basically the individual tiles that the digital elevation model is shared in. And so it comes in these little bite-sized packets. So a section at a time is how you put this together. And you can see here that I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 12 just here in Jasper County. Now, I also need information from Pulaski County, and so I went ahead and did the same process. I went to Dr. Jung's website. I downloaded information from the website to allow me to get Pulaski County's tiles, right, and drop those in as well, and went ahead and just changed out some of the features so I can actually see through things, right? And so you can see that, I could probably justify going ahead and grabbing this county's information up here, so I'm going to do that real quick. So now what you see here is that we've got 3 counties worth of tile information, but we still have to go and individually download each one of the tiles. And so I have to identify which ones I want. So I'll just be honest with you that I'm going to probably try and just kind of take this block, right? And so what I need to do in order to actually go access that information is that, knowing that I'm kind of going county by county, I need to figure out how far into this I'm going. And so let's go ahead and say that here in Stark County, I'm going to go ahead and identify these 6 tiles. Well, by going ahead and selecting them in that way, what I'm going to get is I'm going to get a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 tiles. What I need to do with this information is that I then need to go to the website. I need to go into Stark, into the DEM images. And what I'm going to do is, let me just real quick bring this down so that I can actually go see them, is that I have to go ahead and match each one of these. So I need file number 299-02155-12. It's really nice that this one happens to be the one sitting right here on top. And 160, the next one in line. And 160. I don't know if I need 165. Anyway, but what I'm going to do with each one of these is I'm just going to go ahead and do a save the link as. Again, going to the same folder here, and I'm going to go ahead and just drop it in. And basically, I've got to do this download over and over and over again until I've got all of the tiles that I want, and then I'm going to show you what comes next. And as I go along, one of the things I like to do is that I like to go ahead and actually populate those images in. And so this is really on me, is that I've more than one occasion I've actually gone ahead and messed this process up and downloaded the wrong layers just by missing a number somewhere along the path. So what I'm hoping to see is that bottom left corner of this orange is all going to fill in with raster images here in just a second. We'll just do that. And so as these are processing, it should go ahead and pop in. You see that I've got all of the DEMs that I need. I can actually go ahead and zoom to these layers and actually see what it looks like here on the ground. And so you know the digital elevation model now exists here. I mean, I could actually go ahead and start to be able to go ahead and click into these images and start getting some additional information about them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause the video again. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the information that I want, and I'll pull all of this together into an overall digital elevation model. As you can see, now I've been able to go ahead and pull in all of these individual tiles, but in order to use them in an efficient manner without having to run the process multiple times, we want to go ahead and bring them together into a single digital elevation model. So what I'm going to use for that is I'm going to use a tool called Mosaic to New Raster. You can see it here. It's under Data Management Tools. We could certainly go up here to Data Management Tools and we could find it. But because we know the name of it, it's often easier just to go ahead and click on it. And what it's going to do is it's going to pop up a menu for us here. And what we're going to do is that right now I've got all of these layers because I just imported them all as a block, but you could also go ahead and click on the top one, scroll to the bottom of the list, hold the shift key and click on it and highlight all of them. But anyway, either way, get them all highlighted and then you can go ahead and bring them all in. The other things that we're going to need to do here in order to get this to work out for us is we have to put in an output location, which is the name of the folder where we want the information to be stored. And so for me, I want it in my Jasper Pulaski folder. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I have to give it a name. And I'm just going to call this the JP DEM. You want to keep it underneath 8 characters, ideally. So keep the name short and you should be good to go. Number of bands that a raster will have. So this starts to get into some more complex things we really haven't covered. It requires it because you see the little green dot, and so the number of bands that the output raster will have, it depends on how many bands come in with this. And so each one of these came in without, well, let's just keep it simple. Let's go with 1 because that's how Dr. June has the data set up, and we'll kind of work our way from there. So a few other things that, we could always go and search more information out, but I think this is really what we want to go ahead and set it up as. Keep it as simple as possible. We don't need to mess with any of these other features. Once I do this, it's going to take a minute to run, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video one last time, and hopefully when it comes back, we'll have a nice digital elevation model for the Jasper Pulaski Wildlife Area. And miracle of miracles, it worked, right? Not always does it happen. It took about 5 minutes for GIS to go ahead and process this. And what it's done is it's combined all of those individual tiles that you can see over here into one raster layer. And so I can actually just go ahead and remove those. Usually I just delete them out of my files. In this particular case, I'll probably hang on to them for the team that's working in this landscape. But this is the basics of it, right? Is that now you've got a single layer representing the digital elevation of the entire site. Now we can go ahead and process this and do whatever we want with it. For one last, just to show it off, I'll go ahead and run real quick and create an exaggerated visual relief of this landscape down here using the surface and hillshade tool to kind of showcase that. And again, you've seen this in other videos, but this is just to make sure that the raster that I've created is actually processing correctly. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and create it and make sure it gets dropped into the right location in the Jasper Pulaski. I'm going to call it JP, and then I'm going to call it Hillshade. As I run this, I can certainly, do a lot of things, model the shadows. I'm just going to run it as stock because that works for what we need to do here. I'll let this process and then I'll check it back in and we'll wrap things up. And you'll see that the digital elevation model came together. We can see some of the waterway features. So this is really effectively a ditch. So there's probably some restoration work to be done here. The other thing that's just kind of interesting is we start looking at the topography in this space. And it's one of the things that made me kind of, want to run this model or run the hillshade to take a look at things here is that just this really interesting contouring in the landscape, right? That there's something different going on in this landscape than what we see further south, like in Tippecanoe County or in areas down in like Fountain, or Fountain County for sure, but down towards Indianapolis. And so I think this should help you get through the process. Let me know if you have any other questions.